The coronavirus pandemic, meanwhile, has taken a bigger toll on women than on men, at least when it comes to the workplace. According to the National Women's Law Center, women accounted for 55% of the over 20 million jobs that have been lost in the month of April alone. Joining us now to discuss, executive career and success coach Elizabeth Pearson. Elizabeth, really great to have you on. For women who have been affected by layoffs, what is the key to job searching during all of this? I can't imagine how daunting it must be with so many other people out of work also.
Yeah, I think one of the main things that's going to be super important for women, which may feel uncomfortable at first, is asking for help. So a lot of times we will maybe zhuzh our LinkedIn or we'll revise our resume, and then we might sit and wait because we don't want to bother anybody. So I think that at first you really need to get into a growth mindset here and reach out to everybody that you might have worked with in the past, people that you have strong network connections with. And then you also do need to go back to LinkedIn. A lot of people will only look at LinkedIn when they're job searching, but it's really important in order to rank highly within the SEO on LinkedIn to be active on it as frequently as possible. So that's going in, it's liking other people's posts, it's sharing content. And I always tell my clients that they should write an article for LinkedIn. So this can even be from your perspective, right? How is COVID impacting you or your specific industry? Find some industry trends, plug them in, and then before you know it, your SEO will be up nice and high. And I think you'll also have authentically reconnected with people from your professional past that might be able to help you.
Such great advice. Besides major layoffs, how has COVID affected women in the workplace?
So it's really lessened our visibility. And you might say, with technology, as wonderful as it is to be in Southern California and you're in New York talking to you right now, at the same time, we're missing out on all these wonderful nonverbal cues and feedback that we would get if we were in a face-to-face meeting with our peers or our superiors. So when this has happened, we're finding that women are far less likely to speak up for themselves on these video calls. They get interrupted more. They get talked over more. And actually, one Yale study found that when men spoke up more often and they were more engaged, 50% perceived them as more competent. While when women spoke up, and this is from Lean In, 38% found them as less competent, which is very backwards. So my suggestion is to get into a mindset, set a goal for yourself of the amount of times that you're going to speak on a call, and obviously make it worthwhile. Outline some bullet points before you get on the call, and then make sure that you have your voice heard on those calls and that you don't just fall into the background.
That is such fascinating and troubling research. Incredible. What are some ways that women could prepare their career paths for future recessions or pandemics? And I can't even think about another pandemic, but what are ways that women could get ready?
I think that you always have to be ready to pivot. So what I mean by that is be flexible and well-rounded in the career that you're in right now, if possible. If you haven't already been laid off, raise your hand to do some responsibilities that maybe aren't currently in your job responsibilities, list right now. Reach out and do other things so that you can get experience in a broader area. And then also be sure that you're leaning into a lot of your transferable skills. So that's leadership, it's customer service, it could be client management, and also team building. These are all things that if the career path you're on right now is having a lot of trouble with this pandemic and you want to give yourself a little bit more security and peace of mind and transition into another field, all of those transferable skills will help you secure your next job. And the other thing is to always have a contingency plan. So I think if you get into a career field that's pretty narrow, it can be hard to see that there's anything else that you can do. So I always advise working with possibly a coach if you can. A lot are doing some pro bono work right now. So it'd be great to talk to them and see what your other options are. And then always be a passive job seeker. So again, back to LinkedIn and Fairy Godboss and all those other wonderful platforms, always kind of have your ears and eyes open to other opportunities so that you can maybe make a transition into something else that feels a little bit more secure.
Some people are gradually starting to return to their offices. What are some ways to make the transition back a little bit less stressful?
I know, right? We're all gonna have to give up these yoga pants someday, and it's gonna be a bummer. But I think that if you can go in with a mindset of controlling what you can and let going of the rest, it will bring you peace. So what I mean by that is, do everything that you can as far as whatever the guidelines are from your state and your company about make sure that you have a mask or whatever you need, but then also make sure that you're being compassionate with yourself and flexible with your coworkers. They might be reacting to this in a different way than you are. And it's a very personal thing to be going back out after we've been at home for so long. So cut everybody some slack, bring some things from home that brought you comfort. Maybe it's pictures of your kids or your dog or something that you're not going to be able to walk 5 times a day. I think if you go in from a place of compassion for yourself, for others, as well as bringing some creature comforts from home, you can get into a Zen place more quickly. And always meditate. If you can meditate before you go to work and visualize a wonderfully calm, productive day, I feel like you're much more likely to have a great day.
That's great advice. I'm not ready to give up my yoga pants yet, though, I have to
Me
admit.
neither.
Elizabeth Pearson, executive career and success coach. Great to have you on.